When women believe they could change someone, right, it's because we see the potential in a person. We see the potential of who they can become. And so we think that through our love and our giving and our sweetness, we can help them to actualize those parts of themselves, as opposed to acknowledging that, potential can't pay your rent. You could potentially have a check for rent, but that ain't a check. You can't deposit potential. We met through, how was it? One of my musician friends, a musician that I work with, and so he took me to this guy's studio to get a few things done, and that's how we initially met. But we didn't link up until like 9 years later, and we saw each other at an event, and that's where we connected. What was it? I don't know what it was. What I liked about him. I felt like he was physically attractive, and he was into the same things that I was into, and I think that was that. And he also had, there was space for us to collaborate. I had this fantasy in my head of manifesting a partner who I could work with. And that desire to manifest a partner who I could work with led to some hella toxic relationships. I was still in a space where I ideally thought that love could fix it, and then he was not authentic about what was present for him. He was not authentic about what he was managing internally, and he fronted like he could hang, and he could not. Oh, well, the process to the end, that was damn near 2 years. The ending, because there was the initial breakup, that was in response to an untruth, and some reckless philandering, which I'm not rigid about certain things. I travel a lot, I move around a lot, I do a lot of things, but I am very clear about truth telling and being able to express what's present for you in your heart. And I think there was a time in the past for me when once the heart opens wide, I think this happens with a lot of people, particularly women. You lose your objectivity, and I think part of it was just learning to getting back to a space where the love of myself trumped the love of this relationship. That you can be in relationship with the person, but it doesn't mean that you need to be together. Two people can love each other, but it doesn't mean that you need to be together. And if someone tells you who they are, you have to believe them. And I remember when we were first talking, and he said, well, I'm kind of a scary guy about a lot of things. He told me who he was. Yeah. And then when he acted fearful about certain things, I acted surprised, and I shouldn't have been surprised. I had a really big vision, and I could see the big vision, and I could tell that it left him shook, and there would be an excessive amount of analysis. Or let's say I'd bring a particular male energy around, say somebody I went to college with who worked in the business, who had these ideas. If I mentioned this person's name who happened to be a man, then he would get real tense, and it might lead to conflict. Or he'd have 150 questions and then just kill the vibe. A lot of insecurities. He had a lot of insecurities, and I thought that I could deal with those insecurities, but at a certain point it just became so draining that it was exhausting. And that's when I realized insecure, immature, inauthentic, unstable, and not at all relationship material. The lessons I got from that experience were listen to what a person tells you about themselves. And also to take mental notes when you see certain things, and to trust your gut when the red flags start to come. And I guess another lesson would be certain things should be easy, you know? Certain things should be simple, and if they get too complicated, it's just not the right situation for you. Like, you can do bad by yourself, and don't be afraid to be alone. You have to be your own best friend. You have to enjoy your own company. And then when you can see a person who moves in fear, who lives in fear, trust that hurt people and scared people hurt people. Not intentionally, you know, but you'll end up hurt when this person walks the earth in fear. You know, it's always afraid of something, whether it was making a move, being around certain kind of people, or making decisions and choices. Yeah. Women believe when women believe they could change someone, right? It's because we see the potential in the person. We see the potential of who they can become. And so we think that through our love and our giving and our sweetness, we can help them to actualize those parts of themselves that would make them a better person, a more dynamic person, more of a winner. As opposed to acknowledging that, you know, potential can't pay your rent. You could potentially have a check for rent, but that ain't a check. You can't deposit potential in the bank. And so it's this lesson that we learn over and over again. And I'm gonna tell you, it doesn't feel good, because I've had men who, and this doesn't happen with a lot of men. You're right, it doesn't. A lot of men are not like this. But I have had men who come with the intent to change me. Like, there was the guy who it ended, and he told me I was too much of a butterfly. He spent the whole relationship trying to make me less of a butterfly. And then I finally realized, I said, you know, there are men who like butterflies. Like, you know what I mean? There are men who appreciate this butterfly. My light, my bounciness, my perkiness, the things that I do, my energy. But he just wanted me to, like, sit down. So, and he would have been very happy if I would sit down. And I had another guy. He's like, you know, you would be a great woman. You'd be a great woman if you just didn't do so much. Wow. You know, like you've already lived. Like, are you gonna keep running? You're gonna keep running around? And I'm like, I'm not running around. I'm living a full life as a creative. Yeah. Versus there's this other guy who was just totally inspired by it. You know, so much so that he didn't leave his corporate, but he started to create as well, and to tap into that side of him and honor it. And so, yeah, but when we think we can change another person, we're looking for exhaustion. Like, the person has to want to change themselves, and they have to be about doing the work themselves. Like, you can make recommendations, but if they don't move on it, and I find the only time the change is real when you're suggesting is when they're engaged in full dialogue with you about it. And they're actively processing it. If that ain't happening, they're just talking to get what they need and want from you.